on 7.
Tonight in 7 News, the new COVID crackdown, case numbers surge in Victoria, meaning tough restrictions are back in force. China hits back, denying claims of a cyber attack on Australia, but experts here still point the finger at Beijing. New fears of a crisis in education, the vital skills our kids have missed out on because of the pandemic. And the Royals step out to support small business and pick up some treats for the family.
This is 7 News with Angela Cox.
Good afternoon. We begin with disturbing news out of Victoria. The number of COVID-19 cases there has risen by 25 overnight, the highest jump in more than 2 months. It's prompted Premier Dan Andrews to reintroduce tough restrictions that had been relaxed. Christy Mayer has the latest.
This is a big step backwards for the state of Victoria, with the government admitting it is now in crisis talks and we are facing the possibility of a second wave of coronavirus.
It could not be more serious.
Restrictions were due to ease in Victoria on Monday, but that has now changed after an emergency press conference was called this afternoon. Headlining the announcement from 11:59 tomorrow night, Victorians will no longer be able to have 20 people over to visit. That number is being rolled back to 5.
The planned opening up of, for instance, pubs, restaurants and cafes, going from 20 patrons per enclosed space to 50, has been deferred until midnight the 12th of July.
There are 25 new cases of COVID-19 in Victoria today, the highest number in more than 2 months. According to authorities, the spike is a consequence of family gatherings, and so the rules for Monday have been revised. In addition to stricter rules inside homes, outside homes gatherings will be limited to 10 people. Working from home must continue until at least the end of July, and businesses like gyms and restaurants will be restricted to a 20-person limit. Community sport can go ahead and the ski season will open on Monday as planned, but subject to increased screening.
People are failing to adhere to the call to maintain physical distancing, and so we really shouldn't be too surprised that in Victoria we all feel that same fatigue.
It's also been revealed that some Victorians have been going to work even when they're sick because they can't afford not to, and community transmission is up. To combat this, the government has announced a $1,500 allowance to make sure those who are infected stay home. The message was very clear. The government is very nervous about the situation here in Victoria, and hotspot suburbs have been warned they will be targeted with even stricter rules if the virus spreads.
The World Health Organization has warned we are in a new dangerous phase of the pandemic. While many countries are lifting lockdown restrictions, the number of new infections around the world is accelerating. More than 150,000 cases have been reported within 24 hours. That's the highest single-day number so far. Most of the new cases are in the Americas, South Asia and the Middle East.
Countries are understandably eager to open up their societies and economies, but the virus is still spreading fast.
It's estimated more than 8 million people have been infected globally and around 450,000 have died. The AFL has been rocked by its first major COVID-19 case after Irish star Conor McKenna tested positive to the virus. Andrew McCormack is at the MCG. Andrew, what can you tell us?
Well, Ange, tomorrow's Essendon-Melbourne clash has been postponed as the AFL's worst fears really have been realised today. Essendon's Conor McKenna showed an irregularity in a test yesterday. A second test today showed a positive test for the COVID-19 virus. He trained with the Bombers just yesterday in their main training session ahead of tomorrow's scheduled match. So the entire Essendon playing group, their coaches and their staff have been told to self-isolate until they can be tested again. That won't happen until Tuesday. The AFL, importantly, has been told that McKenna picked up the virus in the past few days and didn't bring it back from Ireland. He returned from Ireland to Australia in the middle of last month on May the 16th. He was told to self-isolate as per protocol for 2 weeks before returning to the club. The AFL says he was tested 5 times since then, all negative as late as Wednesday. So they're going to try and see where he picked up this virus over the past couple of days. He's the league boss, Gillan McLaughlin.
There have been more than 13,000 tests.
This is the first positive, but given the circumstances, we will take a conservative approach. The club will be closed and cleaned as per the Health Department requirements, and we will work with the department to identify all those that they deem to have been in close contact and then to isolate them.
Now, the Bombers did train this morning. McKenna was at the club but didn't train with the team as he underwent that test. But still, the AFL world in limbo until the entire Essendon Footy Club can be tested once again. Yanj?
Thanks so much, Andrew. Meanwhile, Queensland footy fans have been allowed back into stadiums for the first time after up to 2,000 fans attended their first live NRL game in Brisbane. They had assigned seating and followed strict social distancing rules.
We're stoked. We can't wait to be back, watching some live sport and, supporting the Mighty Titans.
The first AFL game in front of Queensland fans will also kick off at the Gabba shortly. The federal government has suggested crowds of up to 10,000 could be allowed under stage 3 of easing restrictions next month. China has hit back at claims it's behind a massive cyber attack on Australia, saying the reports are totally baseless. But the think tank, which pointed the finger at China, is sticking by its claims. Jennifer Beshwati has the details.
Well, Ange, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute has today doubled down on its claims that the increase in cyber hackings are coming from China, saying it's the only country that has the motive and the capability to be able to launch this kind of attack.
Everybody knows that has any experience of dealing with cyber security that China is by far the biggest threat Australia faces.
The spokesman for China's foreign ministry, though, hit back at the claims by Mr. Jennings and directly criticised his organisation.
It has no reputation at all, and the attacks and the blames coming from this institute against China is totally baseless and nonsense.
The federal government still won't name China as the source of the attacks.
And the Australian government will always place our sovereignty, our national interest at number one.
The Deputy Prime Minister today saying that many countries around the world are dealing with this threat.
I'm sure that there are other countries too. We live in a global village where interconnection is happening more and more.
The federal government is appealing to all states and operators of our critical infrastructure to take this threat more seriously, with no signs that the attacks will end anytime soon. Ange?
Donald Trump has warned lowlifes and looters not to show up at his comeback rally in Oklahoma. More than 100,000 people are expected to attend, sparking fresh fears about COVID-19 transmission. US Bureau Chief Ashley Mullaney is in Tulsa.
After 3 months in lockdown and no political rallies, the Trump show is back on the road, with hundreds of supporters lining the street to see the president in the coming hours. Oklahoma swept up in a political crusade and health crisis. The state is nearing 10,000 COVID-19 cases, among 21 states seeing a surge, with reports even the White House coronavirus task force, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, advised the campaign against holding the rally. Thousands will fill the indoor stadium, masks on offer but not mandatory.
I don't believe in the corona. I think it's probably hysteria.
Well, I'm in the age group where it's probably not going to really bother me as much, but I'm willing to take that risk to have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
The rally will mark President Trump's return to the campaign trail, coming as the country grapples with the deadly pandemic and protests, with intensifying calls for racial justice. Demonstrators from around the country have travelled to Tulsa, planning to protest Donald Trump's event, to which the president tweeted a thinly veiled threat that any protesters, anarchists, agitators, looters and lowlifes who are going to Oklahoma, please understand you will not be treated like you have been in New York, Seattle or Minneapolis. The mayor had issued a citywide curfew. That was then scrapped after a conversation with the president. Businesses boarding up now in case there's any further unrest.
There are new fears about the impact of COVID on education. Experts say the childcare crisis could cause big problems next year. They say vital preschool skills have been interrupted and will only get worse as free childcare comes to an end. Serena Andaloro reports.
Well, there are real fears COVID-19 has had a serious impact on our littlest learners who are heading to school next year. Under-resourced childcare centres say they've had to turn many away, dropping back on education programs to keep up with cleaning. Some big chains putting a 60% cap on enrolments to stay viable.
I have 2 children to try and homeschool, which was pretty unsuccessful. TV was basically their babysitter while I tried to work.
For families still struggling financially, there's also the issue of childcare fees returning in July, when it's estimated more than a third of children will have to reduce their days or leave altogether.
They'd made the decision also to cut their childcare licence down to 20 children across the board.
In New South Wales, free preschool will continue until at least September. The State Treasurer hoping it will help boost female participation rates in the workforce.
More than 100,000 people have signed a petition calling for shark nets to be removed during the migration season. It comes as the famous white whale, Migaloo, was spotted not far from where a mother and her calf became entangled in nets yesterday. Carly Madsen is on the Gold Coast.
Some of the scientists behind this petition have spent more than a decade advocating for the removal of shark nets here on the Gold Coast. The equipment was installed off our beaches in 1962. Since then, there's only been one fatal attack on a protected beach, but the nets have had their own casualties.
They're catching anything that swims by, so that includes rays, turtles.
And every migration season, whales. Just yesterday, a mother and her young calf had to be rescued after becoming tangled off Main Beach. And last month, local diver Django untangled a whale caught off Burleigh Heads.
There's nothing right about this. They're a placebo. They don't protect people in the first place. All they do is harm like this. So just get them out.
A petition to remove the nets reportedly has more than 100,000 signatures. But there is support for both sides of the debate.
They should definitely go. It's one of those things you're always going to catch wildlife in them, you know, so what can you do? I mean, people don't want to be getting chewed up by sharks.
It's estimated 40,000 humpbacks will migrate through these waters this winter, including the most famous Migaloo, who was spotted in New South Wales waters just yesterday. He could swim through these waters any time from this evening.
It's the most common cancer diagnosed in Australian men. Next, the new drug promising better results and fewer side effects for prostate cancer. And farewell, Sir Ian Holm. Tributes flow for the legendary actor.
The Super Nerd.
Time for laughing is over.
The Super Team.
My worst nightmare.
Get ready for Australia's 5 o'clock obsession to go supercharged.
Indian Friend League Dolphins tea. It's gone.
New The Chase. Weekdays on 7.
You bought a Jeep?
Yeah, I bought a Jeep.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yep. And if we need anything else, Jeep has adjusted the price of over 17,000 parts to reduce running costs. So, you ready to go boat shopping?
I'm in.
Hey, hon. Yeah? Oh, how funny. I'm in that aisle now.
Get your Woolies worth with great specials like Arnott's Shapes 160 to 190 grams now $1.60 each. That's half price.
That's why I pick Woolies.
AHC's perfecting eye cream for your face. Once only for the eyes, now for the entire face. This is K-Beauty at its best. Enjoy hydrated, dewy, radiant-looking skin with AHC. See the brand new offer from AHC Eye Cream for Face with a gorgeous free gift. Live on Open Shop, Channel 75.
When you're in pain, it can feel like you're on your own. With years of training and genuine care, Terry White ChemMart are your partners in pain relief. Book a pain medication review today, available in-store or via telehealth. Terry White ChemMart, that's real chemistry.
Shut up and take my money.
Nothing like a party in the summertime. Nothing like seeing you, baby,
Imagine what your plates could say. Visit myplates.com.au.
Australian researchers are hoping to dramatically improve the lives of patients with prostate cancer. They've transformed the drug currently being used to treat the disease. Preclinical trials show the new version is far more effective with fewer side effects.
Researchers at the University of South Australia have developed a new formulation of a popular prostate cancer drug and say it will dramatically increase the quality of life for patients. 78-year-old Charles Abdillah is one of the many men with prostate cancer taking Zytiga. He says while he's had great success with the treatment, it still has some downsides.
Because you have to fasten before for 2 hours and then take the tablets and then fasten again afterwards for a few hours.
The researchers have created a new formulation of Zytiga that's more effective. Currently, only 10% of the dose is absorbed, with the rest just passing through the body. By dissolving the drug into an oil, scientists have increased its absorption by 40%. It means patients can take a smaller dose, which reduces possible side effects like joint swelling and diarrhoea. The need for fasting should also be eliminated.
This is pretty exciting because so many patients take Zytiga, and if we can offer a new product for patients that's easier on their day-to-day lives, this is pretty important.
A smaller dose could also help make the medication cheaper. If the team is able to secure funding, clinical trials could be just 2 years away.
The New Zealand police officer shot dead in Auckland yesterday has been identified as Matthew Hunt. The 28-year-old was the first New Zealand policeman killed in the line of duty in at least a decade. He was performing a routine traffic stop when he and a colleague were shot. A 24-year-old has been charged with murder. The second officer remains in hospital in a stable condition. The acting world is mourning the death of British actor Sir Ian Holm at the age of 88. He appeared in more than 130 films and TV shows, but he was best known for his portrayal of Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. His family says he died peacefully following a long battle with Parkinson's disease. Prince William has revealed, like many of us, he spent isolation trying his hand at baking with the kids. He was visiting a bakery while Kate dropped into a garden centre as the couple resumes royal duties. Our Europe correspondent Sarah Greenhalgh has more.
And the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge set an excellent example, abiding by the 2-metre social distancing rules, sanitising their hands and not shaking any hands, which is pretty tricky for two people who used to do it as a full-time job. Prince William said it's like a natural reflex. But these outings were all about supporting small businesses who have been doing it so tough during this period. And now here in the UK, non-essential shops are slowly starting to reopen. Kate popped along to a garden centre. The first time she's been out and about since lockdown. She heard from staff about the difficulties they've been facing and shared how the kids, George, Charlotte and little Louis, have loved being outdoors during this period and that they've been growing tomato plants themselves. But they've also, according to Prince William, been spending a lot of time inside in the kitchen baking. A few days ago, Prince William shared how he was concerned about the nation's waistline given how many treats we've all been consuming in lockdown, and he reiterated that again today.
Well, I've done a little bit of baking. The children have been attacking the kitchen and it's just an explosion of flour and chocolate.
The bakery the Duke of Cambridge visited had almost been closed for 3 months. It only reopened this week, just in time to whip up a birthday cake for William, who turns 38 on Sunday. Ange.
Sport is next with Jim Whistler. And Jim, the Kangaroos and Swans go head-to-head in the AFL.
They have, Ange. Good afternoon to you. Afternoon, everyone. Coming up, highlights from Marvel Stadium. Also, the fallout to a spiteful showdown between the Western Bulldogs and the Giants, who suffered their second straight defeat. And impressive performances from the Rabbitohs and Panthers in round 6 of the NRL. That's next.
It's not Lady Gaga. She's only 10.
We're far from the shallow now.
Unbelievable. Amazing is an understatement.
It didn't even seem humanly possible.
It was fantastic.
I want to see more.
So many awesome acts, we can't fit them all in. You can't miss new America's Got Talent. Wednesday, 7:30 on 7.
When your functional digestive symptoms bring you down, choose Iberogast. Its combination of 9 medicinal herbs is clinically proven to relieve multiple digestive symptoms. Iberogast, herbal power that works.
In the universe, stars are born every day. Just like in Cobden, Western Victoria, where for over 93 years, we've created not just butter, but a star. Western Star. More than butter.
This is Fran. Fran delivers food to those in need. With inspiring people like Fran, Origin volunteered over 9,000 working hours supporting community partners last year. Origin, powered by good energy.
There you go, slugger.
See? Steve?
Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new giant-sized New Yorker range. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
At Rest, we're always working to protect your super. We keep our fees low so more of your money stays where it belongs, in your super. It's part of our commitment to you.
At Coles, you can rely on us for your corn chips and for fixing your chipped bumpers. With Coles Comprehensive Car Insurance, you get quality repairs you can trust. Search Coles Car Insurance today.
Not now.
I love shopping online for my pets at Pet Circle. I can easily find thousands of products, all with the best price guarantee. These guys are like family and I want to take care of them. But finding their favourite brands is hard and expensive. Then I discovered petcircle.com.au. With Pet Circle, I save on food, treats and litter, all with contactless, free delivery to my door. There's no reason to shop anywhere else. And it seems a lot of people agree. Shop online at petcircle.com.au.
Welcome back, everyone. We start with breaking news in the NRL. The Warriors have sacked coach Stephen Kearney this afternoon. Players were told at their base at Terrigal on the New South Wales Central Coast. They've won 2 and lost 2 games since being forced to leave families behind in New Zealand.
To be fair, they've been really good, but it's I can tell that it's tough.
They were thrashed 40-12 by Souths last night. Kearney's expected to be replaced by assistant Todd Payton. The pressure on Paul McGregor eased a little more with the Dragons' 20-8 win over the last-place Titans at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane this afternoon. Latrell Mitchell starred in the Rabbitohs' 40-12 win last night, but he was left furious by a facial that's earned Warriors hooker Wade Egan a 1 to 2 game ban. Mitchell left the field in tears and was consoled by coach Wayne Bennett in the dressing room.
No, I'm not going to tell you why. It's got nothing to do with you. And, the change room to me has always been a sacred place. It's a place where we can go and be who we want to be and not have to answer to anybody about it.
Mitchell wasn't charged for a hit that concussed David Fusatua. The Storm suffered their second loss of the season, 21 points to 14 against the Panthers. Well, as I saw earlier, Essendon's Connor McKenna has tested positive for COVID-19, with the Bombers' clash tomorrow against Melbourne now postponed. In action today, Sydney has ended North Melbourne's red-hot start to the season with an 11-point victory. Tom Papley was influential, setting up a number of goals.
It is another one from the Swans. They're skipping away now.
It was a heated affair last night with hefty fines expected as the Western Bulldogs beat the Greater Western Sydney Giants by 24 points. The PGA Tour is going ahead despite the positive COVID-19 test of Nick Watney during his second tournament back. Watney played the opening round at the Heritage in South Carolina before being forced into isolation. He had tested negative on arrival at the event. Everyone else was allowed to continue in a second round interrupted by thunder and also lightning. We'll have a whole lot more sport coming your way, everyone, in 7 News at 6 o'clock.
OK, thanks so much.
Thanks, Ange.
We'll take a look at the national weather next, including the incredible fog that blanketed Sydney this morning.
As you're waking,
breaking news.
Know what's unfolding.
Australian statues are being defaced.
The headlines and much more.
Coronavirus testing is being ramped up.
It's where decision makers turn.
What's the reasoning behind this change?
The team Australia trusts are on Sunrise.
Garnier Fructis Hair Food to nourish hungry hair. 98% natural, no parabens, with 3 ways to enjoy. As a conditioner, mask or leave-in. Fructis Hair Food by Garnier. Naturally. Hungry for more? Aloe Vera Hair Food available now.
Could drive us away. We could be heroes forever and ever. Then we could be heroes, oh, just for one day.
With McDelivery, Macca's comes to you contact-free. Get free delivery every weekend on Macca's orders $25 or more via the Uber Eats app. Visit Macca's social pages for this weekend's promo code.
Save up to 10% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz home insurance policy online.
Okay, done.
Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
Krispy Kreme Snickers. Oh, sorry, hang on a sec. 1.5 metres. Social distancing. But I don't make the rules.
Krispy Kreme Snickers. New at 7-Eleven.
Thanks for calling ING. This is Adam speaking. How can I help you? No, I'm currently working from home.
Oh, you can call anytime, so...
Sorry. And she's currently nibbling at my toe right now.
Yeah, working from home was a bit tricky at first, but...
There's definitely been some stray farts, hasn't there, mate?
And now your loan's on a fixed rate. Can I help you with anything else?
No, you made my day.
Well, whatever 2020 throws at you, we're here for a chat anytime.
Too easy.
Sydney disappeared under a blanket of fog this morning. You can see the Opera House and Sydney Harbour Bridge swallowed up as thick white mist rolled in around 7:30. The whiteout was a spectacular sight from the air. On the ground, morning exercisers could barely see the famous landmarks. The fog cleared as quickly as it came in to reveal blue, sunny skies. Time now for a quick check of the weather on the satellite. A wintry blast has hit the southeast with rain and thunderstorms across parts of New South Wales, Victoria and Tasmania. Behind the system is a cold air mass which has dropped temperatures across South Australia. The rest of the country is pretty much cloud-free. Around the capitals tomorrow, Brisbane partly cloudy and 23. Morning rain in Sydney with sunnier weather by the afternoon. Melbourne a few showers and 14 degrees. Rain developing in Hobart. Adelaide 15 degrees and windy with showers and sunshine for Perth. And that is 7 News for now. Our next bulletin is 7 News at 6. I'm Angela Cox. Thanks so much for your company. See you tomorrow.
Very good.